feel like I've kept you guys waiting long enough. The Backrooms movie review by yours truly. I had a few of you guys in the comments on my Backrooms video, which again, I want to say thank you guys so much for all of the support that you guys gave me on that video. I really appreciate it. But I did have a few of you guys wanting a review from me. Surprisingly, this is a very different kind of content for my channel. Now, I will say it has been a while since I've seen the Backrooms movie. Like literally since the day it released on the 29th of last month is the last time I've ever seen it. So it's not quite as fresh in my mind as I would have liked it for this review. I just want to preface this by saying before I start that in no way, shape, or form am I some kind of movie critic, or is this going to be a plot analysis or even a story like scene by scene, you know, analysis, like going over the story. This is strictly going to be my opinion, my thoughts of the movie that I had. So all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get into my Backrooms review. So honestly, whenever first going into this, I tried to keep as open of a mind as possible because there's many different ways that the movie could have went. And I just want to say, before I get to yapping, it was good. I enjoyed the movie. If you want to know my opinion on it, it was a good movie. The best way I described it, and even told my friend like shortly after I saw it, I think later that day or the next day, I told him it felt like a high production YouTube video. That's the vibe that this movie gave me, and in all the good ways. Like, you know, it was very reminiscent of Kane's touch to the series, because we know we had the sections with VHS, how the suspense was built, the obscurity of the monsters, at least at first, and it was just very Kane-esque, if that makes sense. For the first part of the movie, I honestly didn't even know that Mary was the one doing the voiceover about the window, and that she was the doctor shown on those covers for those tapes and stuff. Again, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm going off of memory from like almost a month ago, so I'm sorry if I get things wrong. Feel free to correct me. But I didn't even know that was her for the first bit of the movie. That's on me. I don't know why I was so lost. And when it comes to characters, honestly, the ones that stood out to me the most were definitely obviously Mary and Clark, as they seemed to be more of the main characters, if I had to put a name to it. The other two were definitely like, I like their characters, but it just, when it came to the plot, they really weren't that important. They were more just like unfortunate victims of the Backrooms and Clark, if you see it that way. I'm gonna be reading a little bit from my Discord messages from my friends, because I did literally send him like my thoughts directly after I finished the movie. So for the most part, I did say that it had some pretty good scares, which is true, especially that first scare with the bird. The tension and atmosphere, Kane nails that in like everything he does. And of course the messages when it comes pertaining to Clark and Mary, those had some really good messages, which I'll get into in a minute. And the way the film ended felt very open-ended for it to go any other direction, whether it's another movie. And considering that this is Kane's universe, Kane, I think himself stated that this is canon to the web series as well, so this is just another story. I guess call it a found footage 4 because that's really honestly what it felt like. And of course, who would I be to not talk about the monster, Clark, and the still lives. I just want to let you guys know that I did watch Wendigoon's 3-hour video about the Backrooms like the day before I went to go see it, and did learn about the still lives and I think the life forms, which the life forms are more of those like growth things, and the still lives, I think from what I remember, are like the Backrooms attempt at making human life. And I really did like the analogy they used for the Backrooms, which was, I believe, imagine you tried to explain or describe a dog to somebody who's never seen a dog before and tell them to draw it, and they would get some things right, but they would equally get some things wrong. So it would be that thing in theory, but there's gonna be a lot of details that are lost in translation. Clark's wife, you know, she had like the multiple faces, or was that the other guy? The theme of like the Backrooms getting all the details somewhat right but mostly wrong was just really good with how all those designs, Captain Clark, Clark's wife still life, the bearded guy still life, the guy in the wheelchair, Mary still life at the end, all of those were really well done. So they gave me a very unsettling, especially that one scene where freaking Clark's wife literally came out of the shadows walking like,
oh my god,
Like, she was walking all stiff-legged and stuff, yo. That was scary. That was probably the scariest part to me, honestly. Captain Clark's chasing wasn't all too scary for me, personally. I don't know. It just wasn't that scary. It was just like another instance. Like, the whole time I was thinking back to just like when I was reacting to the, at the time when I was reacting to the series like a day or two earlier, I was like, this is just like the found footages when they just don't know how to get up out of there. We need to move. Like, Mary was on that one scene where she was in this room with all the stairs. She had to go up to the stairs to the trap door. She was taking entirely too long. I would rather have taken my chances and possibly plummeted to my death than to get got by Captain Clark. Next thing I want to talk about, of course, is kind of not the plot, but the message. I will admit I'm still a little shaky on what the whole window monologue is from Mary, because we do hear from Clark after Clark does try to reach out to Mary that he opened the window, I believe is what he said. So even now, that's something that I'm not really, and I haven't watched any kind of like analysis or nothing about this movie, y'all. So I'm going, this is literally off the dome. Okay, this is like, I'm sorry if this is so rambly, but Clark, like how his character ended up, like we saw with the role playing that Clark obviously has an alcohol problem, talking about how he had little to drink and all that kind of stuff, which the alcohol problem really was the thing that caused him to lash out at his wife. My instant thought with how he was portrayed was that, oh, this is gonna be another instance where we get this guy who's, you know, got a broken home life and life in general, you know, furniture store doing bad, wife kicked him out because, you know, he's kind of a scumbag. And, you know, instantly that setup of that character kind of had me rooting for him. I was like, okay, well, you know, I see him going to therapy, he's at least trying, right? All for that to get turned around on its head at the very end when Clark kind of realizes, and really good, I really loved Mary's admittance here. Like, after she went back into the back rooms to find Clark, she pretty much was like, he was like, after that crazy role play scene, I believe that's when they had a discussion of like, she just admitted, I can't help you, because as we saw from Mary's flashbacks as well, she has some unresolved trauma of her mom keeping her, I think her mom was probably suffering her, let me slow down, I'm talking like I'm really a movie reviewer. But as we saw Mary's mom suffering, I'm pretty sure, from schizophrenia. She wasn't letting Mary go out of the house. That scene right there was also scary. That was scary. Like, because I was anticipating her mom gonna pop up out of nowhere and prevent her from looking outside. I didn't know when it was gonna happen. That scene scared me too. Like, it had me hitting one of these. That's what it had me hitting one of those. Her mom literally got admitted into a psych ward and everything. So she had firsthand experience with seeing somebody who was mentally ill, and she led her to have some trauma of her own. And I love the part where at the end she was just admitting, like, I can't help you. I can't help you. Like, I can't help you if you're not gonna want to help yourself. And she was being straight up with Clark, telling him that like it was all his fault. You know, it wasn't because of his wife or because of the failing furniture store. She was pretty much straight up and being like, hey, you're blaming everyone except for yourself. You know, like, if you want to change, you're going to have to take some responsibility when you're not changing. After she tells him that, he literally accepts it. He's like, you know what? I don't want to change. I want to stay exactly how I am, exactly here in the back rooms.
I don't think I want to change. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
And he even realized that it was his fault. Like, he was at fault. He did at the end decide to take some blame onto him, and I think that is why Captain Clark at the end ended up attacking him, because, and I did hear this, and I will admit I did hear this theory somewhere. I heard it on TikTok, I believe, but I think it's a good point that as soon as Clark kind of realized that, yeah, like he was lashing out at everyone except for himself, and that's what the entity was doing. Because remember, the backroom is just copying human memory and stuff like that. As we saw, like, it's replicating things that are near those null zones. Like, for example, that pile of furniture when Clark first entered the back rooms, that stuff that was generated there because of all the furniture that's right next to the null zone. And from that's what I assume. The back rooms would maybe change and replicate maybe Clark's changing mental state. So once Clark changed and realized that I am at fault and, you know, I am to blame, his entity, Captain Clark, finally lashed out at him and killed him. You know, it was just a full circle moment. But him not wanting to change, it hurt so much because I was like, Clark, you were almost there. Because at first, when she told him that, I was like, oh, thank God, Clark's gonna snap out of it. He didn't. Well, I guess you could say he did, and he realized that the backrooms was where he wanted to be because essentially it was a place frozen in time, unchanging, just like him. And then remember at the end, we even see that since Mary was in the backrooms, it had time to replicate a still life version of Mary, and then also the room that she was being interrogated in, which is interesting. And then we also see a distorted version of Mary's house, like when it's dropping from level to level to level to level. We see it start out as her house, and then it slowly starts to get way less detailed. Next thing I want to say, online opinions about this movie. Before the movie in TikTok comment sections talking about this movie, I tried to stay away as far away as possible from spoilers, and I did. But I was seeing how people in the comments were saying the movie was bad and the movie, you know, was not scary and comparing it to Obsession. And I just want to say that you are free to have your opinion and criticize the movie for what it is, right? What doesn't make sense is to compare it to a completely different kind of horror movie. Like, sure, they're both in the same same genre of horror, of being a horror movie. Sorry. If you ask me, Obsession and Backrooms target completely different types of horror. Obsession to me is a lot more of a play on possession, like demonic possession. It's not exactly that, but a play on it, and more of the uncanniness of how humans act, because there's really no monster in the story unless you want to go the route and say, oh, well, Bear was a monster. He definitely was. While Backrooms is more of a sci-fi horror, liminal horror. That's literally what it is. They're not even trying to do the same thing. Like, now if Backrooms for some reason was doing the same thing, then sure, but like, it's so dumb to me to completely judge it and disregard it and being like, oh, well, you know, like, Obsession was so much better than the Backrooms. You're free to think that, but like, to judge the movie and say the movie itself was trash because it wasn't as good as Obsession is stupid. Oh my gosh. Because I don't want this to come off as like you're not allowed to dislike a movie. If you didn't like Backrooms, you didn't like it, but judge it and critique it off its merits and what was actually in the film. Because I also saw a lot of videos online where people would be like, oh, the Backrooms didn't have entity the booty hole tickler on on level exclamation mark or level 9767. Like, are we serious? And then it didn't have almond water and all the stuff from the Roblox games and the Steam games and the... Are we serious? Are we serious? And like, I genuinely saw people critiquing the movie and calling it bad because it didn't have stuff from the wiki. It didn't have stuff from these games, like the thousands of Steam games. And not to say there's anything wrong with those media, but it's just judge the movie off of what was in it. If you didn't like how... I saw a lot of people say they didn't like how the last act kind of was, where the jump between time, and I kind of agree. I think the Backrooms movie could have benefited a little bit with a longer runtime. But yeah, judging the movie off of things that just weren't in it is stupid, especially because it's Kane Pixel's Backrooms. And I also saw a comment somewhere where people were like, well, he should have put Kane Pixel's Backrooms in it. How many Backrooms movies are you thinking are gonna get made? Like, do you think there's gonna be that many made to where you have to put so-and-so's backrooms into it. I said this in a comment, but backrooms is such a big umbrella term now to where when you see media or a series, you judge it. I would judge it based off of what's in that media or series, because it's like to judge it and compare it to something else. Like that's like me reacting to Kane and I react to somebody else's background and be like, oh, this person's backrooms series is garbage because it didn't do this like in Kane's. I mean, you know, it's just like I'm judging it based off of things that aren't in it instead of just looking at the product or like, yeah, product itself, for lack of better words, and just judging it off of that. I'm sorry. I could go into a whole rant about it, but I'm not gonna do that. TLDR, for those of you who might have just skipped to the end of the video. Backrooms was good. Love the monsters. Good scares, solid scares. Really loved Clark's would I say it's a full circle? I'd say it's like a improvement and then complete straight drop off, I would say. Mary was a really good character too. I do wish we kind of explored her trauma a little bit more. I feel like it was kind of not glossed over, but you know, I just feel like the movie would have been a little bit better for me if it had a little bit like extra, like if it was like a 2-hour movie, I feel like it would have been perfect. Maybe a little bit more than 2 hours, like an extra 15-20 minutes, because I think it was an hour and 45. Yeah, that was my Backrooms movie review. And again, I'm sorry if it wasn't as detailed as you maybe would have liked it to be. Again, it has been literally almost a month. Like as I'm recording, it is currently the 23rd. It's been almost a month since I've gone to see that movie, and I haven't seen anything besides maybe a few clips from edits. I literally have not seen the movie itself, like sat down and watch it. I haven't had the time to. I do plan to rewatch it again once it comes to streaming. And yeah, before I forget, I also do want to say that I had a lot of people telling me and asking me if I can react to The Oldest View. I've already watched it. I have already watched it. I watched that a year and a half ago, so if you want to go watch it, I'll put the link in the description on this video, because a lot of people were telling me to go watch it. Been there, done that, y'all. Anyways, hope you guys did enjoy this movie review. I hope I don't gotta go back and re-record some parts because this was all just one take. I don't have a script. I don't have any of that. It was just straight me talking for like I said, I've been recording for almost 35 minutes. So thank y'all again so much for all the support on the Backrooms video. I really appreciate it because it was 3 hours long. It was a lot of work to edit. So I really am glad to see that you guys enjoyed it as much as you did. If you guys want to see me react to any other web series, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll check them out. One that I think I'm going to do next that someone mentioned in the comments, I'm just going to... With that being said, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more content from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. That'd be greatly appreciated. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.
Let's get scratching.